It is no secret to longtime fans of the channel that trading card games have been a big influence in my life, both on and off the channel. In this series, both DemonBattler and myself will be opening 24 packs, or one box, of each core Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set in chronological order. After each opening, we will build decks from all of the cards we have opened thus far, then duel each other in a best-of-3 match with 3 prizes up for grabs to improve our decks. The winner will receive 2 of those prizes, and the loser will get 1. The possibilities for prizes are almost limitless, including single cards, sealed product, structure decks, and much more. Every card in the entire game's history will be obtainable in some form. However, neither of us will be able to rest on past laurels easily. The ever-changing official Forbidden and Limited list, our own choices of cards to be banished to the Shadow Realm, and even changes to the very rules of the game will keep our decks and duels fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. Thank you all so much for making Progression series what it's become. We have been listening to your feedback. There are some undesirable play patterns in the Progression series so far. For the sake of a better viewer experience and a better player experience, I would like to announce the following changes effective at the start of this episode. We've been noticing that the Tournament Pack wedge has been a booby prize almost the entire time. No one has taken a Tournament Pack willingly since Tournament Pack 7. As a result, we are removing the Tournament Pack wedge from the sealed product wheel and issuing both players 3 boosters of the set current OP pack at the start of each duel as a participation bonus. Those cards will be usable in the following duel. The second change is that we are getting to the point where Konami is pushing out a lot of side sets with their own archetypes, to the point where side sets are going to start mattering a lot more. Therefore, we are making 3 changes to the way side sets are handled. 1. A side set portion will be increased from 3 packs to 6. This will allow us to get enough of a side set that we can build archetypes around it meaningfully. 2. Cards can now be crafted from side sets, but not reprint sets, following all other crafting rules. Third, the wildcard tournament pack option on the catch-up wheel will be removed. In its stead, the any 3 cards wedge will be slightly increased in size, and a new wedge will be added called Wildcard Starlight. This will let the player who spins it craft any card in existence at the time of the set's most current release, even if it is already rotated out. There are no restrictions whatsoever on what can be crafted. Magazine promos, video game promos, cards going all the way back to the beginning of the game, and even SJC or YCS promos are fair game. We have now officially entered the ZEXAL era of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series, and with it comes more changes to the rules of the game. While we leave Turbo Duels in the dust for now, we have exciting changes planned. The plot of Yu-Gi-Oh! ZEXAL focuses around the Number Monsters, a series of Xyz monsters with a connection to the Numeron network. To tie in with ZEXAL and encourage the summoning of the Number Monsters, all Xyz summoned Number Monsters will gain the following text. If this Xyz summoned card would be destroyed by battle or your opponent's card effect, except by battle with or card effect of another Number Monster, you may detach 1 material from it instead. You can only use this effective card name once per turn. This rules change will be in effect from Generation Force until Primal Origin. Generation Force was released August 6, 2011. This set introduced Xyz Monsters, a new type of monster card that resides in the extra deck, made by taking 2 or more monsters of the same level and slapping them on top of one another. This set introduced the Onomatopoeia archetypes, a series of related archetypes including Ga Ga Ga, Go Go Go, and Do Do Do. This set also introduced the powerful Wind-Up archetype, a series of monsters with strong effects that can only be used once while face up on the field, though they have many ways to be returned to the hand or flipped face down, where they can be wound up again. The set also introduced the Geargia archetype, a machine-based archetype that excels at rank 3 and rank 4 Xyz plays. This set also features a lot of Fish, Sea Serpent, and Aqua support,
revolving around banishing cards, then recycling banished cards. The set also introduces support for the Elemental Hero, Gishki, Gusto, Laval, and Ulswarm archetypes, some of which won't get their main cards until future sets. There is quite a bit to go over in this set at all rarities, and the first card that I'd like to talk about is Goblinberg. So Goblinberg is a common that enables a rank 4 plays very easily. It's a small monster, searchable by reinforcement in the army as well. When it is normal summoned, you can special summon a level 4 or lower from your hand, and then change Goblinberg to defense position, but it does not matter because this is just a 1-card rank 4. Next, we can start talking about some of the wind-ups. We have Wind-Up Soldier, which is a 2200 normal summon that turns into 1800 the turn after you summon it. And it also becomes a level 5, so Cyber Dragon into Wind-Up Soldier can enable rank 5 plays, and there are a couple of very powerful rank 5s in this set. The next common I'd like to talk about is Geargiano, which is very, very important for the Geargia archetype. This is a machine with 500 attacks, so it is eligible to be abused with machine duplication, and boy, can this card abuse machine duplication. You contribute Geargiano to target a level 4 machine monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated. This is not a once per turn, so if you can special summon multiple copies of Geargiano from your deck with machine duplication, you can use this to go into multiple Xyz monsters. Now, Thundershort is an innocuous card that could wind up seeing play in our format because we're starting to get a critical mass of burn cards to the point where we won't need to necessarily stall out the game. Because tokens cannot be used as Xyz material, and Ojama Trio is coming off of the banned list soon, we may be able to make a deck built around this in our 2 copies of Just Desserts. However, our attack floodgates aren't nearly as good as there used to be because Xyz monsters are unaffected by cards like Level Limit Area B that care deeply about levels of monsters. The next card I'd like to talk about is Fish and Kicks. This is one of the big Fish, Sea Serpent, and Aqua supports in the set. If you have 3 or more banished Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua-type monsters, this lets you target 1 card on the field and banish that target. Banishing removal is going to be very, very important for dealing with number Xyz monsters. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that in our format, just to be able to deal with Xyz monsters. And then the last common that I'd like to talk about, while not good now, will be much better later on, is Mask Change. This is a quick play spell that lets you target a hero you control, and then you can special summon a masked hero from your deck with the same attribute. Now, a lot of the masked heroes are high rarity, but you don't need too many of them to make this card very strong. And both of us still have hero cores. They're a little bit dated now, but with the masked hero support that we'll be getting in the next few sets, we could wind up bringing this core back. Now, we have a lot of important cards across the rarity spectrum, but especially at rare. A Wind-Up Magician is quite strong. This will let you special summon a level 4 or lower Wind-Up from your deck whenever another Wind-Up monster's effect is activated. This can only be used once while the cards face up on the field, just like all the other Wind-Ups, but it's very easy to reset them. One big enabler for Wind-Ups could be Book of Eclipse, because Book of Eclipse is one of the few ways that we have to mass set monsters. It does give your opponent cards, but it does not matter often, because you can just spam this sort of effect. Fill up your entire row of monsters with just extra deck monsters and kill your opponent before they have a chance to draw a bunch of cards off your Book of Eclipse. Now, wind-ups aren't powerful now, but they'll be getting a ton of support later on that makes them just a force in the metagame and ultimately winds up needing to have some cards removed from it. So Wind-Up Snail is mostly being played for the name, but it does have a 2k butt, and it is interesting in that its effect doesn't just return set back row, this can return set monsters too. And we're still setting a lot of monsters in the Progression series, so this could wind up being played in the archetype. The next rare I'd like to talk about is Air Orca, which has actually had a stint of a competitive playability. So what this does is it's a 1400 Wind Sea Serpent, which is a very interesting combination of type and attribute for the decks that want it. And then once per turn you can banish a Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua monster from your hand, and then you can target a face-up card your opponent controls, destroy it, and then Air Orca gets banished until your next standby phase. So this gives you tons and tons of fuel for your effects that care about Banished Fish, Sea Serpent, and Aqua monsters. The next rare I'd like to talk about is O-Fish. Yes, it's called O-Fish. So what this does is, in response to an effect monster's effect activating, you can shuffle a Banished Fish, Serpent, or Aqua monster into your main deck and then negate that card effect and destroy it. This is a powerful counter trap. The card that DemonBattler is going to be looking for, and the card that I banned Swap Frog over, is Sea Lancer. Sea Lancer is a very, very powerful tribute monster in the frog archetype specifically, because all the frogs are aqua. This lets you target any number of your banished fish, sea serpent, or aqua type monsters and equip them to Sea Lancer. It makes it a 2300, and then as long as it has equipped monsters on it, you can destroy one of those cards instead of Sea Lancer being destroyed. This is not a once per turn. This can trigger things like Poison Draw Frog multiple times. This can let you get back Ronin Totems that have been banished by Graveyard Hate. This card is incredibly frustrating to deal with and is the primary reason why I banned Swap Frog. Then the final rare that I would like to discuss is Fish and Swaps. So this will let you discard a card to get 2 of your banished Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua type monsters to your hand. This will see play as a one-of in this deck, but it is an important one-of to have. Now, there aren't too many interesting super rares, but there are 3 that I would like to discuss. The first one is Ga Magician. This will be able to set itself to any level between 1 and 8, and makes it very easy to enable high-rank Xyz plays. And then our first Xyz monster to discuss is Submersible Carrier Arrow Shark. This is the only Xyz monster that is not at Ultra Rare or higher in this set, which is why getting Xyz monsters is so important. So hopefully we can pull 1 or 2 to be able to use them. This plays with the Fish, Sea Serpent, and Aqua theme. It's a 1900 rank 3 that once per turn you can detach a material to inflict 100 damage to your opponent for each of your banished monsters. This can play extremely well in a Macrocosmos shell. And then the last super rare I'd like to discuss is Wind Up Factory. This is a very important card for the Wind Up archetype. Once per turn, if you wind up one of your monsters, you can add another wind up from deck to hand. And this is pretty integral in some of the looping that you'll be able to do with wind-ups once we have a couple more sets of them. Now, almost all the ultra rares in this set are bangers, especially the Xyz monsters. We're going to be discussing every single one of the 4 Xyz monsters that are at ultra rare. And the first one, and the best one arguably, is number 17 Leviathan Dragon. The only drawback to this card is it cannot attack directly if it has no Xyz material, but this can become potentially 3k. Now, normally what you want to do with this card is you want to detach 1 material from it immediately to make it 2500, and that attack increase is permanent, by the way. So this is essentially a generic rank 3 that's a 2500 vanilla, but we may want to be a little bit more cautious with this, specifically because by leaving a material on it, we will be able to protect it from some kinds of removal or battle destruction if our opponent does not make another Xyz monster. And then the other 3 Xyz monsters are all good in their own right. So number 34 Terabyte is a 2900 defender that you can detach a material from to target a level 4 or lower attack position monster your opponent controls, and you can grab it until the end phase, being able to use it for extra deck plays. The only drawback is that this requires 3 materials instead of 2. Wind Up Zenmeister has seen all kinds of historic play. This is a generic rank 4 that's 2500, and then once per turn you can detach a material to be able to target a face-up monster you control, set it, and then during the end phase of the turn it gets changed back to face-up attack position. The 2500 effective attack on this is quite strong. And then lastly we have Leviair the Sea Dragon, which is an 1800 rank 3 that requires 2 materials. And once per turn, you can detach a material to special summon a level 4 or lower banished monster to your side of the field. This can special summon your opponent's monsters too. And then the secret rares are mostly hit or miss, but there are some very strong ones that I'd like to talk about. Mostly the extra deck monsters. Now, we have a couple of rank 5s. The first rank 5 is Turris, Keeper of Genesis, which is a 2600 2-material rank 5 that cannot be destroyed by card effects. And then at the end of the battle phase, if the card battled, you can target any card your opponent controls and pop it. But you do have to detach a material from it during each of your end phases if it does have one. Note that Turris is not destroyed, DemonBattler having in our offline progression series, and it was a huge problem to deal with. Thankfully, we don't need to worry about Magical Scientists getting in the way this time. And then the last card that I'd like to discuss is Steel Swarm Roach, which you cannot play Ulswarm without this card. It is their big rank 4, and Roach is just quite good on its own. It's essentially a special summon floodgate, requires 2 level 4s, and then during either player's turn, when a level 5 or higher monster would be special summoned, you can detach a material to negate the special summon and destroy it. We also have some side sets that came out during this time. Duelist Pack Crow came out on May 27th of 2011, and this has a bunch of Blackwing reprints as well as a very powerful card that might be worth going into this pack after. It is Blackwing Zephyros the Elite. This card is quite strong. If it is in your graveyard, you can return a face-up card you control to your hand, special summon it, and then you take 400 damage. This effect is a hard once per duel, but this can enable rank 4 plays, it can enable synchro plays. This card is still quite strong, even today. But the rest of this Duelist pack has some very saucy reprints in it. It's got Blackwing Armor Master at Super Rare, it's got some pretty strong Blackwing Synchros at Rare, it's got a Rare Gale reprint. Elfin is pretty cool. I've wanted to put 1 copy of Elfin in my Blackwing deck for a while. And then we also had a new Gold Series come out. The Gold Series 4 Pyramids Edition was released on June 24th of 2011, and this set was not well received, and Konami knew that the reprint quality in this was not nearly as high as Gold Series previously was, so they threw in a cheap playmat with every single box of Gold Series 4. And it really shows with this set. The vast majority of these reprints are not relevant to the progression series. We have a couple of cool ones. We have a Sage's Stone reprint, which could be relevant for me because I have a Dark Magician core. We have Common Trade-In, which is very difficult for us to get in progression series because it was only in 1 starter deck. And then Deck Devastation Virus is a very cool reprint that could wind up seeing play, depending on what we wind up doing. And the gold rares, they're really hit or miss. Admittedly, this is the first reprint of BLS in quite some time, so this will be an opportunity for me to get the card. Demon still has a copy of this card, and it has been on my radar for a ban, but if we can pull one, then that would make me not want to ban it. This also has a Morphing Jar reprint, which is quite strong. It has a Titanial reprint, which is quite strong, considering my multiple Lone Fire Blossom. Summoner Monk is a good reprint. Geysirus would be a good reprint, but it's banned. And Pot of Avarice is pretty strong as well, but most of the rest of these cards at the common slot, and even at the gold rare slot, are not great. Spy I already have a playset of. Spirit Reaper Chaos Sorcerer I already have a playset of. This is, I believe, the first Doom Caliber Knight reprint. Next, we had a starter deck come out. That's what we're going to be playing for in this duel. Let's not mince words. So starter deck Dawn of the Exceeds was released on July 8th of 2011. The cards in the deck are not very good and won't see any play in our format, at least the ones that we get that are new to the deck. But the big reason why we're going after this deck are the 3 Xyz monsters that it comes with. Gachi Gachi Gantetsu and number 39 Utopia are the highlights, although Granosaurus isn't bad. So Gachi Gachi Gantetsu is the only rank 2 in the game, and this was mentioned back during Mystical Shineball and Ancient Sanctuary, where the Agent of Creation Venus could special summon multiple copies of Mystical Shineball to overlay into Gachi Gachi Gantetsu. And this has part of the protections that our number monsters do as well. 2200 is not a bad size for a rank 2 defensively, and getting all of your monsters by 400 can make quite a difference in combat as well. Granosaurus isn't terrible either. It's a 2k rank 3 that you can detach a material from to inflict 1000 damage to your opponent, but it's just a rank 3. Once we get better rank 3s, it won't see any more play, but the big prize in this deck is going to be number 39 Utopia. Number 39 Utopia is one of the most powerful rank 4s around. It's generic, it's 2500, it can negate attacks, but if it does get targeted while it has no material, it gets destroyed. I would argue that the rules change that we have made for ZEXAL actually makes number 39 Utopia a little bit weaker, but it's still a very strong card and is going to define matches. And then lastly, we did have a new Turbo Pack come out during this time. Turbo Pack 6 released to local game stores on August 4th of 2011, and this isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. We do get a Cypher Soldier reprint here, which is a card that has been in DemonBattler's side deck for quite a while. Magical Dimension isn't a bad reprint, but it's really just those two that I would be looking at. At the rare slot, there are some pretty interesting cards like Zombie Master, Black Garden, Armory Arm, and Elector Sovereign of Birds. So I wouldn't mind seeing some of the rares out of this pack. And the ultimate rare is Dark Arm Dragon, which doesn't matter quite as much because both of us already have a copy of it and it's going to be limited for a very, very long time. Alright, I am super excited to open the first set of the ZEXAL era Generation Force. Lots of powerful cards in here. Really hoping to see those black monster cards, but before we get to that, we do have one of our changes that we're implementing. We're going to be receiving 3 packs of Turbo Pack 6, which is the most recent organized play pack at this point. There's a Dark Arm Dragon reprint that I'm not really too interested in because I already have a Dark Arm Dragon, but there are some very powerful commons and rares that I'm going to be looking for, so we'll get 3 of these, see what's in our first one, and that is Elector, Sovereign of Birds. That's a really good rare to hit. Very happy to see that card. And we'll see what comes out of our second pack. There's another big hit that I was looking for. That is a Cypher Soldier. Gemini Spark is a little bit dated, but it's a nice pickup. But another Elector is solid. And for a third pack of Turbo Pack, did we seriously just pull triple Elector? What is going on here? But it's a solid card. I'm okay with it. I'll definitely make use of it, but I don't think I need 3 copies. So pretty excited about those, but let's go ahead and just hop right on over to the main event, Generation Force. 24 packs of a very powerful set, starting now. And our first pack, we get a nice rare Fish and Swaps. Georgiano's good to see. Thundershort's good to see if we do bring the burn deck back. These are not bad cards. And there's a Goblinberg, Wind-Up Snail. Not bad. Like I've been saying, this is a hype set. So we will be looking at wind-ups, but we won't know if we're going to be able to play wind-ups until the next set because we really need to see some copies of Wind-Up Rabbit to be able to play that. I will take the Goblinberg, though. There's our first copy of Fish and Kicks, another copy of Thundershort. Star Changer is not a very good rare, though. And there's another copy of Fish and Swaps. I don't think that's a card we're going to want 3 of, but it is very useful in that deck in limited copies. Unfortunately, the rest of these cards are just not very good. And there's a Sea Lancer. We won't be playing this archetype because we don't have a lot of the stuff that makes the Frog deck go, but Sea Lancer is a very, very scary card. Wind-Up Soldier, that's our first one of those as well. That could wind up being very useful for rank 5 plays, and I could see splashing that into other machine archetypes as well. And there's a second Sea Lancer. I just don't think we have the card pool to do this. And I already banned Swap Frog, so I'm committed to not playing it, and really I don't think I would want to play a Lancer Frog Mirror anyway, just because of how incredibly grindy those games get. I don't really need a third copy of Fish and Swaps, and the rest of these cards I'm just not interested in. Where are all the holos at? We're 9 packs in and we still haven't seen a single holo. There's another Goblinberg at least. A 3x Goblinberg is going to be good if we can get a rank 4, but we haven't seen a single holo yet, and almost all the Xyz monsters are at Ultra or Secret Rare. And there is the first Secret Rare that we have pulled since Secret Rares were reintroduced, and that is Orient Dragon. That's a good one, too. This is going to be very strong now, since we'll have a lot of synchro plays going on, and being able to pop synchro monsters on a generic 6 is going to be quite strong. Now, the rest of these cards aren't great, but I will take Orient Dragon as a first holo. And there's our third Goblinberg, so we have a playset of those on lock. I'd really like to see more Georgiano, because Geargia could wind up being playable. And there's our first copy of Air Orca, which could wind up seeing play in the Fish, Sea Serpent, and Aqua deck. And there's our first copy of Mask Change. It's not going to help us without any masked heroes, most of which are pretty high rarity, but it's a good card to have in the event that those do come up. And a third Sea Lancer, absolutely. I would like rares that aren't related to the Frog deck, please, since I've already committed to just banning that deck out of existence if it becomes a problem. There's another Snail, but that's about it. What is going on with this box? This box has been, other than the Orient Dragon, I've got nothing. And there is an Xyz monster. Unfortunately, it is the worst Xyz monster in the set. We pulled an ultimate rare number 34 Terror Bite, which this requires 3 materials, but it's very difficult to answer in our format without having something like a banishing piece of removal. I just really don't see myself having a shell to make that anytime soon, but we did get an Xyz monster. And there's another super rare. It is not a very good one. It is Xyz Veil. This prevents any monster that has a Xyz material from being targeted by card effects. It's just, unfortunately, not worth it. And it's also symmetrical, too. Even if it was one-sided, I don't think I would play it. And a second secret rare. It's unfortunately not a very good secret rare. It is Smashing Horn. So Smashing Horn is a counter trap for negation effects. So whenever a monster effect or a trap card is activated that negates the summon of a monster, you can negate that activation. This would be very good if DemonBattler had more things that negated summons, but currently I'm the one that has all the summon negations, so if he winds up having that, that is going to be a card to look out for, but he just doesn't have enough summon negations yet for that card to be worth playing. There's our first copy of Oh Fish. Try to put this fish deck together. We've only got a few packs left. Alright, so only 3 packs left. Other than Orient Dragon, I have not been impressed with the opening. So we'll see if we can snag one more Xyz monster in the close. We did get a third Wind-Up Snail. Unfortunately, that's not the good Wind-Up rare. The good Wind-Up rare is Wind-Up Magician, and so far I have not seen that. It's pretty important to the archetype. If we get a bunch of cards for it in the next couple sets, I may consider a craft. But let's move on to our second to last pack. We got another super rare. It is Masked Hero Vapor, so we will be able to use that mask change, but it's just not a great target for it. And then the rest of these cards we already have, so let's go ahead and crack our last pack so we can get a banger in the close. We did get an ultra rare. It is Piercing Moray. I don't think I have ever read this card. So it's a 1500 Piercer that once per turn you can tribute a Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua monster for it to gain 600 attack permanently. That's not bad. That is not bad in the archetype. I might have to think about that if I go to build some kind of a Fish, Sea Serpent, or Aqua deck. But overall, we did get 2 secret rares, which is more than we got through all of 5Ds, but I am not super duper impressed with what I opened. The only Xyz we got was Terror Bite, which is a great defensive threat, but good luck getting 3 materials for it. I mean, we could go into Terror Bite in Geargia pretty easily with Machine Dupe, but I don't know. I'm going to spend a lot of time in the deck editor because I've got options to consider. I am absolutely stoked to play this list for the first duel of the ZEXAL era of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression series. This is Karakuri. This is something that's been in the works for several episodes, and I got all the pieces to play this in Extreme Victory, but I didn't want to play this deck for that episode because I thought if I played it immediately, something would get hit on it. So this is a machine-based archetype that is very, very good at spamming Synchro 7s and Synchro 8s. I'll take you down the card by card. I have triple Cyber Dragon. This is very important because this deck is supposed to be playing 3 copies of Instant Fusion for Cybersaurus, since all of its Synchro monsters in archetype require machine-type non-tuner monsters, and Cybersaurus is the only machine-type 5 that will facilitate the Synchro 7s and Synchro 8s that this deck likes to play. So I'm going to have to improvise a little bit and play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon, which just isn't a bad card to begin with. 1 copy of Shinkaro, mostly as a target for our 2 Synchro Monsters. This can't be destroyed by battle once per turn, so it's a Dark Resonator, and it is a Tuner 2. This can be used to make some of our Synchro 6s, such as our newly acquired Orient Dragon. 3 copies of Ninishi. This gives us an extra normal summon of a Karakuri monster, and this is going to be one of our primary combo enablers, as it is a 0 attack machine, which makes it perfect for machine duplication. We have 3 copies of Inashichi, which is another machine duplication target. You don't want to machine duplication this unless you're going into a rank 2, and unfortunately we don't have any rank 2s in print yet, other than the one that will be on the line for this duel. This will let you add any Karakuri card from your deck to your hand. This includes spell traps. We have 2 copies of Nanashik, which is probably the most suspect card in this deck. Because we don't have the full combo lines for Karakuri, because we do not have multiple copies of the Synchro Monsters, I have this in the deck as a large target for Bure and Boredo specifically. And this is not a bad normal summon either. It can potentially let you draw lots of cards, especially if you have that extra normal summon off of Nanashi. And next we have 3 copies of Queek, which is the largest normal summonable Karakuri in the deck. It's not amazing, we're mostly playing this for the name and the stats, and we need to have enough 4s to be able to go with our 3s so that we can make 7s. And then we have 2 copies of Nisamu. This was one of the late cuts from the deck. I trimmed this down from 3 to 2. It's okay, it lets you float into an attack position Karakuri, which is not awful, but I just don't think this is good as a 3 of. And then 3 copies of Nishipachi, another machine duplication target that is also a level 3 tuner. The ideal target for it is Nishi, but Nishipachi is not a bad target for machine duplication either. On normal or special summon, you can select 1 monster on the field and change its battle position. And then I have 2 Psychic Tuners, Krebons and Psychic Commander as emergency teleport targets. And onto the spells, we have 2 copies of Desynchro. I found I only had 2 copies of this. This card is normally really bad, but in this deck specifically, if you see Desynchro in a list, you're not doing anything fair with it. So we're not targeting our opponent's Synchro Monsters with this, we are targeting our own Bure and Boredo. This lets us re-Synchro summon those 2 monsters, and when they're special summoned, you can special summon a Karakuri from your deck, and it just lets you continue to extend. This deck can make incredibly scary end boards, it can OTK out of nowhere, and this is one of the big reasons why it can do that. 1 copy of Emergency Teleport for our 2 targets, 1 Giant Trunade. We haven't been playing Giant Trunade recently because most of the decks that I have been playing aren't typically scared of a bunch of back row. They would rather play through it and grind the game out. But because this is a combo deck, we definitely want to play Giant Trunade to turn off all our opponent's interaction. 2 copies of Karakuri Anatomy, which is, if you're familiar with Six Samurai, this is Six Samurai United for the archetype. I only opened 2 of this, but I don't think I would want to play 3 in this deck anyway. We have 3 copies of Karakuri Cash, which is the Rhoda for the archetype. 2 copies of Karakuri Gold Dust. This is probably the most suspect inclusion in the deck, but this can enable really crazy OTK lines. After we have attacked with our Bure, or our Boredo, we can target it and another Karakuri monster that has not attacked yet, and then you can make one of your monsters just absolutely massive. 1 copy of Limiter Removal, because the entire archetype is Machine, and this can win out of nowhere, and then 3 copies of Machine Duplication. This is the primary reason why I waited to play this deck until we got ZEXAL to start, because I just feel that if I played this deck during Extreme Victory, Machine Duplication would be an instant ban target, and this card is not going to survive the entire progression series without getting banned. If this deck doesn't cause DemonBattler to pull the trigger on Machine Duplication, then Deskbot will. So one of those 2 decks is going to get this banned. And then double MST to deal with back row, 1 Pot of Greed, 1 Premature Burial, and just 4 traps. Double Compulsory Evacuation Device. This is specifically for dealing with Xyz monsters that we won't be able to easily kill, because number monsters are very difficult to kill in our progression series. And then just 2 negates, 1 Dark Bribe and 1 Solemn Judgment. And then the side deck does transform us back into a more mid-rangey list, where we have a lot of our big staples like Mirror Force and Torrential Tribute, but I'll go over that as well. We have 1 Dimensional Fissure and 1 Macrocosmos for the graveyard decks. They are still out there. I get the feeling Dark World is going to be coming back soon, so having these on hand is very important. We have a triple Karakuri Showdown Castle. This was a cut from the deck when we were going away from a combo-focused engine. So if we have time and Demon is playing more of a mid-range deck, I can bring these in to be able to recycle cards like Queek and some of the larger Karakuris in the deck. And this can let us get over very large threats as well. It was just not helpful in the combo specifically. Then we have 1 Mind Control, 2 Prohib, 1 Called On, and the second Dark Bribe. Mirror Force, double Needle Sealing. The Needle Sealing is specifically for the Blackwing matchup, because the Blackwing matchup can get extremely spammy, and being able to snipe away 3 or 4 of Demon's monsters is going to be very good against that matchup specifically. A 1 Starlight Road for Black Rose Dragons, and then Torrential Tribute rounding out the side, and the extra, unfortunately, we do not have Cybersaurus, so we cannot play the Instant Fusion package anymore, especially with Thousand Eyes Restrict being banned. So we have 1 Ancient Fairy Dragon, which is going to be very helpful in triggering Showdown Castle. A triple Black Rose, 1 Goyo, double Iron Chain, Beret, and Beredo. Both of these cards are absolutely nuts. They special summon a Karakuri from deck when you synchro summon them, and then Beredo in particular will let you draw a card the first time each turn the battle position of a Karakuri monster is changed. Then Magical Android is our 1/5. We have 1 way to make this. We can make this with a 3 and a 2. We have Orient Dragon as another nice pickup from Generation Force. Being able to snipe things like Stardust Dragon is going to be fantastic. And then for 8s, we have Red Dragon, Archfiend, Scrap Dragon, and Stardust Dragon, though most of the time when we're making an 8, we'll go into Beredo. And then our copy of number 34, Terabyte, which we can actually make this off of Nishi or Nishipashi after machine duplication. It is an option, but most of the time we'll want to just go into a Beredo shenanigans. I am super excited to play this list. DemonBattler, I hope you see this coming, because if you didn't see this coming, I'm gonna be the only one high-five in the sky this time. It's time to duel. Wow. Can you believe we're already almost halfway through Progression Series?
I know, it's crazy.
And we have to say goodbye to one era and the start of another. One thing that was not mentioned at all during the beginning of the episode is that we have moved on to Master Rule 2. And there is a big rules change with Master Rule 2. Ignition effect priority is gone. So
yeah, I kind of forgot about that.
That is going to make cards like Chaos Sorcerer a lot worse. But I am very, very excited to see what you brewed, because I would not be surprised if one or both of us has been waiting until a ban list passed to play a new deck. So I would not be surprised if we see 2 brand new decks today.
That would be kind of fun to see. Let's see what happens. Also, I have this weird glitch going on. I can't see the back of your cards, which is weird.
Alright, that's a good start. We do still get first turn draw, though, so I will take the play. Good luck, Duelist.
Good luck.
Alright, let's go ahead and draw for the turn. Proceed to the standby phase. Proceed to the main phase. I am not super happy with this hand, unfortunately. I am just going to set 2 back row and pass.
Okay. Draw. Standby, main. Let's see. Okay, first, I guess, do I want to push? Yeah, why not? I'm going to start with Giant Trunade.
Sure, everything goes back. Am I dead?
I don't think you're dead.
A Giant Trunade spent on a turn when I'm not dead is, very okay.
Now, let's see what you got.
Well, you're gonna see exactly what is up, and I was wondering when you were gonna see that card again. You're gonna get to see exactly what I'm up to, and you're probably not gonna like it too much.
Ooh, Karakuri. That's actually really cool.
This might give you some ideas as to what is going on, and now you see how badly I bricked.
Yeah, that's a bit rough. Ooh, this is actually a tough one. Well, I say tough.
I think I know there's a pretty obvious pick here.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I need to send the Spachi back.
Yep, I was considering just setting it, but...
Okay. I guess I might as well show this off now. I'm going to normal summon Tour Guide from the Underworld.
You got a fucking tour guide too? Jesus Christ, Demon.
Now, in fairness, that was a craft.
Jesus.
Anyway,
Jesus
Anyway,
Christ.
with it, I'm going to special summon the one I pulled.
Fuck this game.
I wonder how long he's going to be away.
What the fuck, Demon?
I know, right? And the funny thing is, I honestly was tempted when I got the craft. I was tempted to go for another Max C, but I thought about it, and honestly, this is probably the only time that Tour Guide's going to be useful. So,
Okay, show me your rank 3.
well, unsurprisingly,
Yup.
I'm sure you expected that.
Yup, this is a problem.
I will detach one material.
Hey, I had
And
this in our offline series, so now it's my turn to deal with it.
Didn't you have like 2 of these?
Yeah, I think I pulled 2.
Main 2, I will set a card and throw it to
Pretty
you.
sure I pulled a Ghost and an Ultra. Draw for turn. Standby phase, main phase. So here's what we'll do. I am going to space your back row. Boy, it feels so good for Mystical Space Typhoon to be at more than 1 copy.
It really does. You got my ring.
Cool.
I was honestly tempted to Sentry the MST back, but I figured Nespachi plus Machine Dupe was going to be bad.
So here is what we're going to do. I'm going to activate Karkuri Anatomy.
Okay.
I am... God, this is such a hard decision. I think I really just need a wall up here. I am going to normal summon Inashichi effect.
When this card is normal summoned, add a Karakuri card from your deck to your hand. Alright, that's good.
Let's go ahead and grab ourselves a... This deck is also notoriously difficult to pilot.
Yeah, Karakuri is one of those decks where it's a lot of fun if you know how to actually work it, but it takes a lot of skill and thought to actually pilot it correctly.
It does. The lines are really difficult. I am going to grab Ninishi.
Okay.
Then I'm going to Machine Dupe.
Interesting. Okay, go right ahead.
I'm just going to get 2 more in defense position.
Well, I can safely say I'm glad Inashishi only works on normal summon.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Holy hell.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to give up my Inashichi here and take 2 stacks.
Alright.
Main 2, I'm going to set an additional back row and pass the turn.
Okay, let's see. I remember you had that quick play one, but I don't remember exactly what it does. Because I know the Inasichi was the new draw. This is going to be an interesting challenge. I'm going to go to battle, and I'll go ahead and clear out one of the Inasichis.
Sure.
Main phase 2, I'm going to set a card, and then run out a Krebons.
Sure.
And I will throw the turn to you.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I am going to... Boy, this doesn't feel very good, but it's what I have to do. I'm going to go ahead and switch this Inashichi to attack position, trigger Karakuri Anatomy.
Okay.
I am going to normal summon Ninishi. I'm going to additional normal summon tribute Inashichi for Nanashik.
In this card's normal summon, you could draw a number of cards equal to a number of face-up defense position Karakuris. Okay.
I wanted to do that with the Machine Dupe, but I didn't really get a chance to. Could have drawn a couple cards off it, but I specifically need the tuner. I'm going to synchro.
So you're going into an 8.
It's going to be Burrito.
Okay.
So
in a synchro summon, you
get
get
to
special summon a Karakuri.
I get to special summon a Karakuri from deck.
And then draw a card whenever a Karakuri's mode switches. Okay.
Correct. I'm going to go ahead and grab myself... what do I want? I did leave the second one in here, didn't I? I'm gonna grab Nanashik.
Okay.
Then I am going to proceed to the battle phase. Burrito into number 17, so you'll take 300, but your number 17 will not die.
I'm going to activate my Scrap Iron Scarecrow.
That's pretty good. Yeah, Scrap Iron Scarecrow is pretty good. I am going to do 800 to you, though.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and activate Creebounce for that.
Yep. Second main. I think I'm just going to pass.
Okay. Draw. Standby, main.
You having a 1-card rank 3 that you can pull out at any time is so scary. There's a reason why Tour Guide was a $300 card.
Yeah. Hey, that's not a terrible idea. I'm going to set a monster, and I'm going to activate Leviathan Dragon, or do I want to, though? I don't remember what that stupid quick play does. If I could get rid of one of the Karakuris, that helps. Yeah, you know what? Hell with it. I'm gonna detach, so Leviathan goes up to 3k.
And can no longer attack directly.
And let's clear out Burrito.
Damage step.
Alright.
I will activate Karakuri Gold Dust. I will target Burrito and Nanashik.
Change one of the monsters to defense. The other gains attack equal to the attack as the monsters change to defense until the end phase. Okay.
So that's targeting both my monsters.
Okay.
So if that resolves...
So that means that your monster's going up to 5k.
That is correct. And then it will also... Yes, and then it will also trigger Burrito. It will trigger Karakuri Anatomy and Burrito. So I get to draw a card.
Alright. And Leviathan's gone.
Oh, so glad I dealt with that thing.
Alright. I'll end my turn.
Alright, draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm going to switch Nanashik back to attack position, trigger Burrito.
Okay.
I will activate Anatomy.
And draw 2. Alright.
Draw a couple. What is your set is the question. Like, your set monster kind of scares me. So I think the play is going to be Nisamu.
Okay.
I'm going to proceed to battle, and then I think I'm just going to drain your life points a bunch. I know you have a Scrap Iron Scarecrow set.
Okay.
So ultimately what's going to happen is these attacks are going to get negated by Scrap Iron Scarecrow and Krebons. So I'll deal you effectively 1600 damage.
Right.
I think that's better than attacking an unknown monster with this giant board. Main 2, I got 2 back row for you.
Okay. Draw.
I mean...
Standby, main.
Well, the Nisamu and the Nanashik have to attack anyway.
Yeah.
That I don't have a choice.
Do I want to do that? Well, let me think. What? Okay. I could do that. I'm gonna take a chance. I'm gonna activate Allure of Darkness.
Lure's fine.
Ooh.
Something tells me you blind Allured if you're that desperate.
I didn't blind Allure, but I need to decide here.
I also still really don't know what you're up to. Because you're obviously playing Tour Guide because it's a 1-card rank 3.
I guess well, he's not going to be useful right now, so I'm going to banish my Super Crash Bug.
That's a card.
I'm going to flip summon my Crash Bug Y. I'm going to normal summon my Crash Bug Z.
Well, that's a thing.
And I'm going to sync away...
Wait, this is a... 8?
8.
Okay.
For...
Which 8 are you making is the question.
I think I'm going to go for my Scrap Dragon.
On summon, Compulse.
Ooh.
No priority for you, buddy!
Yep. And... let's see. On board you have exactly lethal, so yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, I still really don't know what you're up to, is the scary part.
Okay. So Karakuris.
Yeah, they're a very tricky deck to pilot, but if you know the combos, they can be quite strong.
Oh, definitely.
They've had a couple of stints of competitive viability around this era.
True. All right. So let's see. Draw. Standby main. God damn, this is not quite the start I wanted to see. But all right, let's start with the Forceful Sentry. Let's see what you're rocking.
Again, I really need to ban this card.
Desynchro. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. When is
Nisamu.
that card ever? When is that card ever used for something fair?
So let's see. Nisamu is basically a recruiter. Psychic Commander is obvious. Karakuri Anatomy here.
Anatomy is basically Six Samurai United.
Pretty much. think I think I'm gonna send Nisamu back.
Sensible.
Because it at least blanks one of your cards somewhat. And then I am going to set 3 cards and pass the turn.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. Let's go ahead and activate Karakuri Anatomy.
Okay.
Let's normal summon Queek.
Okay.
Battle. Not like I have a choice.
Let's see.
It's 17.
I'm gonna Saku that.
Sure. Main 2. Set a back row. Could be anything.
Could be anything. Standby main. Ugh. I think I'm just gonna pass.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm gonna go for Psychic Commander.
Okay.
Battle.
Alright.
14. Got another sack?
I have my Scrap Iron Scarecrow.
It's gross. Go!
This thing has been a powerhouse for me lately.
Oh yeah, Scrap Iron Scarecrow is really annoying and limited. It's very strong.
I think I'm just going to pass again. I'm kind of struggling a little here.
Sounds like we're both bricking then. Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. Apparently I can't draw anything but tuners today. Crybons?
Yeesh. Okay.
Battle phase?
Alright.
12.
I will Scrap Iron that.
Interesting. You have double Scrap Iron?
I have a Magic Cylinder.
Sure, 14 in. I am very okay with that. It's not a sack. Go ahead.
Alright.
I gotta play through these back row.
Ooh, there's an option. I'm going to Smash and Ground.
That will take out the Psychic Commander.
I will run out a Dark Resonator.
Dark Resonator, huh? Sure, that's fine.
Battle Phase.
Battle phase is fine.
I'm going to attack.
I will declare effective Crybons.
And in response, I will chain Book of Moon, targeting Krebons.
That's pretty good. And then I'll take 13.
And... Oh, no, you don't take 13.
Oh, right, I don't take 13.
He just flips the defense and he gets run over.
Right, I don't know why I thought Book of Moon was like a actual removal card. It usually is.
Nope.
Draw for turn, stand by
I was gonna say, note to self, start using Offerings to the Doomed again.
Set a back row.
Alright. Well, you ran yours, I'll run mine.
I'm just gonna Torrential this.
Okay.
I think that's right, because that's just too much pressure.
Yeah, fair enough.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm gonna go ahead and just space the back row.
Yeesh, alright.
Let's go ahead and normal Inashichi effect.
Okay.
I'll grab myself a copy of... There's a couple different lines I'm considering. Let's go ahead and grab Queek. Go to battle, hit for 5.
Alright. So I'll take 5.
You have like a drag or something? Oh.
I have a Gourd.
God damn it.
Which I completely forgot I had one of from a while
Jesus
back.
Christ, Gores. That sucks. Go!
I mean, in fairness, the token is practically nothing anyway.
Yeah, it's just a 500. It's just, how do I out Gores?
Battle. Let's clear it out.
This will shift to defense, trigger anatomy, and Inashichi will fall.
And I'll pass the turn.
Card for turn, standby phase, main phase. Let's go ahead and run out Queek.
Okay.
Go to battle, let's run over this token.
Alright, token is gone.
Trigger Queek. Does it really...
It does not actually work.
Oh, right, that does not actually trigger because tokens don't go to the graveyard. I have been playing a lot of other card games where tokens go to the graveyard, so yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'll just pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby main. That's interesting. This is a pain in the ass. Is the fact that it makes it so much harder to actually clear out damage, but I have to go for it. So let's take out the Queek.
Sure. Queek shifts, trigger anatomy, Queek down.
Alright. Main phase 2. I think I'll just pass.
Draw for turn, standby, main, activate anatomy.
Yep, get your pot agreed.
Draw a couple. Wow, this is very bad. Activate anatomy.
Oh, damn.
Set a back row. Pass the turn.
Okay.
This is
Draw.
very bad.
Let's space the back row.
Sure, it's desynchro.
Okay. Standby main. I guess I'll just go for battle.
27.
And I'll pass the turn.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. Set one. Go.
Alright. Draw. Standby main. Okay. That's about damn time. Battle phase. Let's swing in.
I go to no effects.
Main phase 2. I will set a card and pass the turn.
Alright, need a good one off the top here. Hoop! I don't think that gets there. Standby main. I mean, I'm not dead. Special Sidra.
Okay.
Tribute for Nanashik. I will go to battle. Nanashik into your set.
Well, you're getting rid of Gores finally.
Oh, Cyberchar. That's A-okay. See what we get here. Oh, how many darks do you have in your grave? Too many. Okay. So you have Gale and Krebons. I guess I just run out these Nisamu. Yeah, I think I just run the Nisamus out here.
Okay.
And
then
put the rest of the stuff
you
in
have-
hand.
So you have
It's
Gold
Gold Dust Machine Dupe Sidra.
okay.
And then I have... I think you know that I have a desynchro in my hand, and the rest of my hand, I believe, is unknown.
Okay. So for here, so Dark Arm's gonna go to hand. Smashing goes to hand. Ring goes to hand.
God, am I just friggin' dead to that stupid ring? Okay. Still in battle. Still in battle. Since I have to attack, I'm gonna go ahead and just clear out this Gale.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna hit the Krebons, and you're gonna pay 100 life points, probably.
Yeah.
Main 2. I am going to activate Karakuri Cash.
Ooh.
Targeting Nisamu.
Okay.
So I'm going to grab Ninishi. Shift Nisamu to defense, trigger anatomy.
Alright.
I'm actually going to anatomy for 1 here.
Okay.
Main phase 2, I have 1, 2, 3 back row for you. Go ahead.
Okay. Draw. Standby main. I'll set 1, 2, and 3 cards. Pass to you.
Draw for turn. I have Judgment for that, thank God. So I don't die.
Okay.
I just have to figure out how I want to go about this now. Standby, anything?
Nope, you're good.
Main. I'm going to go ahead and just Giant Trunade. Get these back row out of here.
Alright.
I bet you forgot I had one.
Kinda did, not gonna lie.
It was a common in one of the reprint sets. Let's go ahead and normal summon Ninishi. Then I'm going to Machine Dupe.
Ooh.
This is gross.
Well, in fairness, you only get the effect once, so...
That's not why. It's just all the tuners. So I'm going to go for a 7 here. Which 7 do I want is the question.
Black Rose blow up the board?
That seems terrible. I'm gonna go for Bure here. I got this idiot too.
Oh, Okay.
I didn't want to reveal right away that I had Beret and Burrito, but there's no way I'm not going to play this deck after pulling both of those. Trigger Beret,
Yeah.
special a card query from deck, which is going to be Nanashik. Then I'm going to sink 8. I just want to see what I got. Did I use my... Yeah, I've used them both, so I actually can't extend this combo any further. I think I'm just going to get Scrap here. Then... What did I make the Beret with? I think it was... Oh, it was Isamu and Inishi. Isamu and Inishi.
Yeah.
As it turns out, the combo lines in this deck are really difficult. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set a card, then I'm going to activate Scrap Dragon.
Okay.
Target my back row and your Krebons.
Alright.
This is my dead emergency teleport. Then I am going to... You've already used Gores. I think Gores is still limited. I can't remember if Gores is limited. I think Gores is still limited. What could you have? Sorry, I'm still figuring out this. This is a very complicated line. I need to get this Ninishi off the board. What 7 do I go into? I think I just do it this way. I'm gonna desynchro. The Beret.
Okay.
So this will go back to extra. Because guess what? Beret and Burrito are not hard once per turn for some reason. Then I'm just gonna resync for Beret, trigger Beret.
Alright.
Special a... I'm still figuring out what I want to go into. What can I say? This deck is so fucking hard to play. Okay. I think I'm going to go into Inashichi, actually. And then I'm going to make a 5.
Android.
Yeah, it's Android. Let's go to battle.
Alright.
14.
You got it.
Okay.
I'll be entirely honest, the whole time I'm sitting here like, he has no idea. Like, you didn't even have to pop your emergency teleport. You could have just popped and Krevons and you had 100 over lethal.
I was mostly trying to play around like some hand traps because I know there are hand traps out there. But yeah, I had Gold Dust too, just in case you made something big. Because I could not remember if Gores was limited. I think Gores is still limited. The other card in my hand was Cyber Dragon. I had a Cyber Dragon and double Gold Dust. Gold Dust is so gross in this deck.
It can be. Now the funny thing is, I only have 1 Gores anyway, so I don't know if it's limited or not. But here's something funny. I fucked up and missed lethal because I had this in hand.
Oh my god.
Here's the other card that's funny.
Oh, you were playing Wiriko Charaska? That's hilarious.
I figured between Cyberjar and like the way I can get like other monsters on the field anyway, as well as Krebons being able to kind of blank attacks, I figured I might be able to get him out on the field. But yeah, honestly, I didn't expect Gorse to actually get in to knock you down to 4. If I had known that was going to happen, I would have just flipped over a Mystic Plasma Zone right away and been done with it, but oh well.
I was not expecting the Condor to come out after we left New Domino City, I'll tell you that much. So some of the really... I think you got to see most of the cool synergies, like the Ninishi, the Inashichi, and I think there's one other one in this deck, that all work really well with machine duplication.
Yep.
And what's really neat about Ninishi in particular is if I need to wall up, I can actually machine duplication the Ninichi and go into number 34 Terabyte.
Oh, you actually pulled a Terabyte.
Yeah, that was the only Xyz monster that I got. It's probably the worst one just because of how hard it is to make.
True.
Because it requires 3 materials, but with machine... Okay, so the thing that's so disgusting about Beret and Burrito is that their effects are not once per turn, so you can actually go into... I'll just let you know that I only have 1 Burrito, because when you have multiple Burrito in your extra deck is when things get really disgusting with machine duplication, because you can machine dupe the Ninishi, sync it off with, like, anything, like Sidra even, into Burrito. I actually wanted to play Instant Fusion in this deck, but I found out I did not have a single copy of Cybersaurus in my collection, which is a Metal Raiders common, by the way.
Wow.
Because that was the initial plan, is I wanted to those 3 Sidras in this deck, they should not be in here. Those should be instant fusion, so that I can grab Cybersaurus out of my extra deck, and then use that to go into Burrito. And then with the machine duplications in the deck, if you have multiple copies of Burrito, you can go into Burrito with the 2 Nanishi on the board, special summon a Nanashik from your deck, and use that to make another Burrito. It's disgusting.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Karakuri is such a fun concept and an amazing archetype. It's just, you definitely have to stop and think every time you play, just to make sure you're doing things right.
There's so many lines, and another issue with this particular version of the deck, by having Sidra instead of instant fusion to get your Cybersaurus, this deck is so bricky at times.
Right.
But I still think that this version of the deck is very, very strong. And that, I'm pretty sure it was that Damage Step Gold Dust on the number 17 that won me this match.
Yeah, honestly, that's the thing. I couldn't remember what the card did, and I didn't feel like pulling it up to find out, to double check.
Yeah, it's a huge combat trick.
So I'll definitely have to keep that in mind for down the road.
Other than, like, the crash bugs, I didn't really get to see what you were up to too much. It looked mostly like good stuff.
Honestly, that's kind of what it was. It was basically like a Fiend theme, crash bug theme.
That actually makes a ton of sense with your number 17. With your number 17 and your double tour guide, you can just rank 3 spam.
Yeah, that's kind of the sad part. It's the fact that I only have the one number 17 anyway. But I figure between Dark Resonator, Pre-Bonds, Plague Spreader, you know, my typical lineup, I can get some decent synchros going.
Yeah,
then on top of that,
yeah, you can spam the hell out of synchros.
And the nice thing too with the crash bugs is that, like, granted, it requires you already having one on the field established in order to start looping, but it's kind of like the gadgets. You could get extra monsters out and have tribute fodder, or you could have synchro fodder or something. Which, ooh, you got an Orient Dragon.
That is the first secret rare I have pulled since secret rares were reintroduced to the game. It's ridiculous.
And it's a good one, especially because, like,
oh, this card's disgusting.
Oh yeah, especially considering the fact that our synchro pool is going to stay good for a long while. Yeah, like at least until Link format. So Orient Dragon is going to be a scary thing.
Yeah, Orient Dragon's disgusting. And it's actually kind of difficult for this deck to make Orient Dragon, because this deck mostly focuses on 7s and 8s. I actually have one copy of... I was playing a single copy of Shinkaro, which is the only one I pulled because it's rare. But I was playing a single copy of Shinkaro to search off of Burrito and Bure to be able to make 6s easily. Not actually very good. I just need it specifically for its level. Well, now that you know what's up, maybe you'll be able to prepare against this deck a little bit better, because oh my god, this deck, you didn't even get to see the half of how explosive this deck can be.
Well, here's the problem. There is a very easy way to counteract this deck. Unfortunately, you already banned the damn thing, Chimeratech.
Yeah, why do you think I banned Chimeratech Fortress Dragon? Because I want to play machine decks. You know how many machine decks I've tried to play in Prague? I think this is the 3rd different machine deck I've tried to play.
This is going to be interesting. Like, man, I guess I'm going to have to start worrying about system down again, which kind of sucks, because there's a couple of slots in the deck I don't like having taken up.
I'm very surprised after I played Morphtronic you didn't start putting system down in your side deck. Either that or you just didn't draw it.
Well, the thing is, like I said, I don't like having system down constantly taking up side deck spaces when I'm not really expecting it to be there.
That makes sense.
And on top of that, too, the problem with Morphtronics specifically is roughly half of them aren't even machines. A lot of them are Thunder, and I think in the case of Datatron, for example, is Pyro.
Right.
So, like, a few of the key cards are machines, but a lot of their extra support aren't, which kind of makes system down a lot less useful. Whereas
this deck system down is devastating.
Oh, absolutely.
This was fun. I really enjoyed playing this archetype. I'm just in love with how explosive this archetype is, and I had to spend a lot of time playing the Karakuri Gate on Master Duel to be able to learn all the lines for this deck, and I think it paid off.
Oh, definitely.
Alright, I am going to take my spin, and you're on a 4-loss streak, so Have fun with
Yay, ketchup wheel.
have fun with the upgraded ketchup wheel. Boy, Demon made me work for that second game, but we got there with Karakuri. That deck is so incredibly explosive, and I would not be surprised if some bans got pointed at it, but we were victorious in this ever-important duel to secure ourselves 3 Xyz monsters. Granosaurus isn't great, but we do get 2 very strong Xyz monsters in the form of Gachi Gachi Gentetsu, which is the only rank 2 that we will have for a very long time, and it is quite strong. It's 2200 defense. We can make this with a machine duplication and some of our 2s, but the big card that we're getting is number 39, Utopia. This is one of the strongest rank 4s of the time. It's 2500. You can negate attacks by detaching material, and then it gets destroyed if it gets targeted by an attack while it has no material. This monster is just really big, and it's very easy to make. It's going to be in our extra deck for quite some time. Now, as far as the prizing goes, I've actually decided, against my better judgment, to shoot for Morphing Jar out of the Gold Series. The reason why I'm doing this is because Morphing Jar is the last piece of the puzzle that we need to play Empty Jar. So that's the reason why I'm going through this. There are very few commons that I care about out of this Gold Series, mostly trade-in. There is one other common that I do care about, but most of these are outdated. So let's go ahead and open our 2 packs of Gold Series 4 Pyramids Edition. Most of these cards are just not great. We did get a Toon World. That's not going to be particularly helpful, but it is nice to have when we do get to some later sets such as Toon Chaos. That is our first Toon World. We'll see what else we wind up with here. Oh, a Deck Dev. Deck Dev is actually one of the good cards that I was looking for as well. I don't believe I had one of those previously. That was originally printed in Flaming Eternity as a super rare, so I'm pretty happy to see that. Most of the rest of the cards in here are just not good. And there's a lot of old promos in here as well that we can grab. Soul Exchange we already had a playset of. And we did get the trade-in the very last card. Trade-in is one of the reasons why I took this pack, because getting 2 copies of trade-in with some level 8 engines that we can have. You might remember we have part of a Blue Eyes core. So having trade-in for that deck is good. So let's go ahead and crack open our first 3 gold rares. Hopefully we get that Morphing Jar. That's not a Morphing Jar, but that's one of the big hits. That's a Blackluster Soldier Envoy of the Beginning. Demon, you're not the only one that has this card anymore. That is already worth the price of admission. We now have a BLS, so Chaos is on the table for us. Very happy to see that card. We get a Gravekeeper Spy, which is no good, and another copy of Obelisk the Tormentor. Interesting. So this is actually how I got my Obelisk the Tormentor the last time, and this brings us up to 3 copies of this card, which is pretty crazy to think about. And then with that, I think I'm going to take my spin for winning as another pack of Gold Series 4, so hopefully we can pick up that Morphing Jar. That would be really sick. But we are looking for some of the good commons. We got the trade-in. That's one of the big ones we're looking for. And then a lot of fairy support. A Recurring Nightmare is kind of cool, too. So let's go ahead and go through the rest of these. Orichalco Shuneros, I believe, is a brand new card that debuted in here. It's not great. It's just a bad anime card. I believe in the TCG, this actually predated the printing of the card, the Seal of Orichalcos. So see if we can snipe some of the other good commons in here. So far, we're not seeing them. We are getting a lot of the old secret rares from other sets. But we did get the 2 trade-in. Alright, let's see if we can get that Morphing Jar. Gold rare number 1. Doomcal. Doomcal's not bad. Second gold rare. Summoner Monk, that's going to be great for Xyz format once we can get a rank 4 pool. And the last gold rare, Royal Oppression. That's about what I expected. That card is currently limited, but it will be nice to have a high rarity version of it to put in the deck. But we got another summon. We did get a Summoner Monk, which is pretty sick. So that'll be a wrap for today's episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression Series. Join us next time when we continue our trip through Yu-Gi-Oh! ZEXAL with Photon Shockwave. Until then, see you around.